meeting order at 7 o'clock. Roll call.
Gary Shute. George Knoll.
Sean Harley.
Randy Sneed.
Eric Burton. Derek Jones.
Lisa Maloney.
All please stand for pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Public hearing for water grant.
Make a motion, we open the public hearing.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to open the public hearing for the water grant. Any further comment? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Shannon? the floor is yours.
I'll take the floor. I'm gonna circulate this sign-in sheet, if everybody would mind placing their signature upon that, I sure would appreciate it. Well, good evening. For those of you that do not know me, my name is Shannon McLeod, and I'm with Priority Project Resources. I've had the honor and privilege to work with the town of Argos for a few years now on their federal grant applications and administering those resulting projects. Currently, we are in the process of applying for a $700,000 grant to complete a water utility improvement project. Now, Jamie, I'm gonna go through the elements of the project quickly because according to Lisa, we're on a little bit of a time crunch this evening. If you wanna add anything, feel free, and if anyone has any questions, we'll take, no need to wait till the end, we can take those, we can address those right off the bat. First of all, we have an underground water reservoir out there on the west side of town that has been in service for, I think, since 2006. It was in service originally, taken off, and then you guys put it back in, and since 2016, it's kind of been a backup supply for firefighting and pressure issues and whatnot. There's some minor issues with that reservoir, some piping, some concrete, the controls. So as part of this project, we're hoping to get all of those addressed. We have the elevated water storage tank that sits right outside of this building. Part of the project, we're going to be doing interior, exterior painting and redoing the coatings, so that in turn will extend the useful life for at least another 15 years. It seemed like a much more cost-effective thing to do than to build a brand new water tower. So we gotta give Jamie a heads up on that he's taking care of these capital assets that you have. In turn, we also will be addressing 3 water lines. There's a water line on Short Broadway, and is it Diane? South. So South, Short, and Broadway Street. We are going to be removing the existing 4-inch line there, mainly for firefighting flows, just to add more capacity, and we'll be replacing that with a new 6-inch and looping that system so that it'll help maintain pressure in that area. Then we have a section of water line on Water and Diane Street that, quite honestly, when we went to look for, there's not an existing line there. These people are being served by a service line, a connection somewhere or another. So we are going to be actually putting that line's going to be an 8-inch municipal line. It's about 650 lineal feet. So it's a short section, but still we need to put that in. There's going to be some valves and hydrants, so that will absolutely protect those homes in that area, you know, with the fighting capacity.
What road was that, Diane and what?
Walnut and Diane.
Wagner.
Yeah, and
Wagner.
so,
Okay,
yeah.
Wagner and Diane.
It's from Yarlick
Yerrick.
to Diane Street. That's that
It
section
doesn't
along
go too
Walnut.
Widener, but it's right there.
Yeah, so right there you can kind of see. That's Yarrick
Yep.
to right there.
Okay.
Okay. And then on Maple Avenue between, I think it is, if I can look here, there's a section from Marshall Street to North Street along Maple, that there's another absence of a water line. So we're gonna be putting in about 1,000 lineal feet in that section of new 6-inch pipe. So in total, that is kind of what the project scope amounts to. Water towers, a few water mains, and miraculously, all of that adds up to over $1 million. So that's quick case in point why we're trying to get a grant. Our total project cost is estimated at $1,013,000, and we are applying for a $700,000 grant, thus leaving the town with $313,000 that you will be contributing as your local match. Now, where is that going to be coming from? Lisa has done the number crunching and looked at our books, and we are going to be appropriating, appropriating it.
It's 250 out of the ARPA fund.
I had $249,500 out of ARPA, and then $63,500 out of the water utility.
Yeah.
So cash on hand. So we're not gonna have to borrow, which means in turn, this will not impact water utility rates, which is probably something that all of your citizens are most excited about or happy about. Now, in the event that we wouldn't get the grant, we would have to borrow that $700,000, and that would increase rates by over $5 per month. And so that's why it's very imperative that we try to obtain the grant. The grant application will be submitted to the Office of Community and Rural Affairs on Thursday, December 22nd. Nice little Christmas present that they threw my way this year for the month of December. I'm like, oh goodness. But anyway, we'll get it in to the Office of Community and Rural Affairs. It's got to be there by 4 o'clock on the 22nd. We'll get it uploaded for you and send you verification that that has been submitted. We then sit and wait. They will review those applications, and then we have been told that grant awards will tentatively supposed to be announced towards the end of February. This is an all or none type of situation. You either get the grant or you don't. If we aren't successful, they will send a representative from the state that will meet with us and tell us, where we could maybe get a few extra points here and there. But and we can always resubmit then in their spring round. They have 2 funding cycles per year. So there's one in the spring, one in the fall. But overall, I think your project is pretty good from a financial need and project need. I think we've got all the bells and whistles, but again, it's a competitive process. So we never know exactly who we're going up against and what their particular needs are. So we just do the best we can with the information that we have, and we submit it and see where everything goes from there. I want to thank everybody here, Lisa and Jamie and Matt, aka Mark. It's a personal joke between us for helping to supply me with the information, and then if you all were involved with getting any of the letters of support, that would appreciate that. I think overall the team's done a good job, and I think we have a very competitive project. So again, we'll get it submitted December 22nd, and we'll see what comes May in February. Does anybody have any questions or comments or anything that we can address? Yes, sir.
Guess this question is probably more towards Jamie.
Okay.
Why are we putting a 6-inch main in up on Maple for 1,000 feet versus they're gonna put an 8-inch in over here for that 600 feet?
So the 6-inch, I think it connects to a 4, we're coming off an 8, so that's a connector. Over here, same thing, it's gonna be a connector, but here we're coming off I think it's an 8 or a 10 that we come off of, so we can run it bigger. They're all loops. So that's gonna increase the pressure,
Well, I live up in that neighborhood,
Yeah.
that's what I'm talking about, the pressure.
Yeah,
I mean, we're all right now, but I know some of my neighbors aren't, and
Don't flush at my house.
what we're looking for is, the pressure's okay, it's the volume.
yeah, right.
Write a letter tonight.
Yeah.
Right, we'd love for you to write a letter.
So I was just curious why the 6-inch for 1,000 feet versus an 8-inch for 600 feet. I mean, I was trying to make that make sense in my
It's
mind.
just,
Yeah, you look at what you're connecting to and all that stuff.
And
It
Shannon,
doesn't make sense putting 8 in if you're feeding it with a 6,
Right.
Right.
That was what I was wanting, the nitty gritty
Yeah.
of, boy, okay, I get it.
Once you understand water flow, you get it.
I get it, I just, I
Believe
needed
me.
to know some details to make it work, 'cause I work with pipes too.
There you go.
And Shannon, you mentioned that we did put a survey online on the Town of Argos's Facebook page. So if anybody can get on there and tell everybody how bad our water is,
This
pressure,
pressure issues.
the pressure issues and stuff like that, that would help, right?
It definitely would,
Yeah.
because the bottom line is that as one of the things that they look at when they're scoring these applications is what is the impact to the residents? You know, is this something that the residents are supportive of? Is there a documented need? Are residents having issues, experiencing issues? Or if they're not, I mean, aren't they're concerned about maintaining the system and the towers and whatnot. So if people could go online and participate, spread the word amongst your friends and neighbors, have them go online, and it's, I think, 4 or 5 quick questions.
Yeah.
It doesn't take but maybe a couple minutes. If they're looking at in one community that had 20 responses and another community that had 60, guess what?
Right.
That 60 is gonna get a little, because there's more community involvement. And
Right.
so, given the fact, and I know it's really hard to get people out to the public meetings, and also during December, it's cold, and Christmas and all of this going on, but given the fact that we've got, minimal group here, has everybody had an opportunity to sign in? Okay, great. That online participation would definitely help get us some extra points, so I would suggest to do what you can and spread the word. We'll keep that live until, probably until about December 20th, because that's when I'll pull it to insert into the application.
And tomorrow I'll go on, or even tonight, I'll go on our Facebook page and kind of bring it back up to the top. So
That'd be great, that'd be
I don't know
great.
if I haven't seen it.
Yeah, it's on there, but, I mean.
You gotta
it's-
refresh
was-
it.
It just says a water survey. It's very generic, but, if you can get any of your neighbors, friends, everybody to
Yeah.
participate, it would,
Well, link me to it.
Yeah, there's some basic information about the project, just a little summary of what we're doing and why, and so,
Friends.
like I said, a little extra citizen participation would not hurt us in any way or shape. Okay,
Will that affect?
yes, sure.
Jill, state your
Will
name.
that, Jill, business owner, will that affect the buildings downtown as well? No, has nothing to
Not
do with that.
really. It's
So
not
by me
gonna-
stating, okay.
no,
I was trying to
if you
support it.
have water issues, please feel free to fill out the survey.
They not
because
fill
that
it
just
out.
helps us.
Because quite honestly, even if this project doesn't address your immediate needs, if there's an issue, it's good if you stated that, because that also helps me show that not only is it this, but we have future needs, and that's why we need assistance on this, so that we can save reserves to address future problems as well. So anything that you can discuss water related, it's a help, good, bad, negative, it's all good.
It will help you, Jill, because if we get the money, then we don't have to spend the money, which
Oh,
will
yeah.
keep your rates lower.
And that does, that affects that, because that absolutely, the condition of the water towers, that impacts everybody. Because if these towers go offline, that's everybody that is impacted by that. If we don't get the grant money, to address this, we have to borrow money. And so
Right.
that's exactly right, what Lisa just said, so.
And we're lucky that we have that reservoir,
Mhm.
because when we go offline to do the painting and stuff in this, we can still use the reservoir, so I mean,
Right,
they work.
they work
together.
hand in hand, it's good, so that's great.
Thank you, Shannon.
Okay, well, that's, close the public hearing, and then I got a quick thing that I need for you to sign and adopt in the meeting.
Move to close the public hearing.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to close the public hearing. Any further comment? Not all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? There you are.
Thank you. Okay, so this is the only document that is official that we need to have in our minutes, and we need to make a motion to adopt and pass. And I will need a resolution number for this, as this is a resolution.
Let me resolution 23.
23?
2023.
2023.
2022-23.
Okay.
So the year and then dash 22.
Okay, so 2022-23.
Mhm.
Like you've done
Okay, yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna read through this resolution. It is called Resolution Authorizing Application Submission and Local Match Commitment. It's a resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Argos, Indiana, authorizing the submittal of the water, I'm gonna do it fast, water utility improvement application to the Indiana Office of Community and Rural Affairs and addressing related matters. Whereas the Town Council of the Town of Argos, Indiana recognizes the need to stimulate growth and to maintain a sound economy within its corporate limits. And whereas the Housing and Community Development Act of 1974, as amended, authorizes the Indiana Office of Community and Rural Affairs to provide grants to local units of government to meet the housing and community development needs of low and moderate income persons. That's why we had to do that income survey, recall? And whereas the Housing and Community Development Act of 1974, as amended, authorizes the Indiana Office of Community and Rural Affairs to provide grants to local units of government for the elimination of blight and slum, elimination and prevention of blight and slum. So they're either benefiting low mod, that's where we fall, or it's a prevention of blight, elimination of blighted areas. Okay, here's the meat and potatoes of what you're agreeing to. Whereas the Town of Argos, Indiana has conducted or will conduct public hearings prior to the submission of the application to the Indiana Office of Community and Rural Affairs, said public hearings to assess the housing, public facilities, and economic needs of its low and moderate income residents. We conducted one back in October, and then the one tonight, so you have done that. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Town Council of Argos, Indiana, that the Town Council President is authorized to prepare and submit an application for grant funding to complete the necessary water utility improvements and to execute a resultant grant, including general administration and project management, contracts and agreements pursuant to the regulations of the Indiana Office of Community and Rural Affairs and the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development. Number 2, the Town of Argos, Indiana hereby commits the local funds in the amount of $313,000 in the form of $249,500 cash on hand from the ARP fund and an additional $63,500 cash on hand within the Town of Argos's water utility fund as matching funds for said program. Such commitment to be contingent upon the receipt of the CDBG funding from the Indiana Office of Community and Rural Affairs. With that, I need any questions regarding that. Basically, you're saying that you are a legal entity and you can give the right to, you have the right to submit this application, and that you will provide the local match if you are awarded this grant. So, it's called a resolution authorizing application submission and local match commitment. So I will need that adopted.
Is it, do you have
Go ahead.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion for the resolution and a second. Any further comment?
One for Derek. Does everything sound good in there, Derek?
Yeah, it's a lot to digest here in 18 minutes, but yeah, you're committing, if you get the grant, you're committing to providing those funds, and so long as the funds are there, then, okay.
I just want to make sure you were all right.
She's
I
never
know
scared
you
us
didn't
wrong,
have
yeah.
to look at it, but.
Yeah.
And Sean,
Stood out to you that I'm-
It's the boilerplate that we've had in each of our, and it's just basically stating that you are authorizing officially to submit the grant, and if you're awarded, you'll come up with the match.
and Sean, this is something we've probably been working on for about a year, so.
I just
not new.
want to make sure the lawyer was okay with it.
Yeah, and you actually,
Well,
I thought, you guys can have this copy of it.
If you give me that, I'll go copy it.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay?
Thank you, Shannon.
Right,
Thank
signing
you.
something?
I've got 2 things that I need you to sign. One is for, this is a disclosure report for the project for the $700,000. Basically, we're saying that we're applying for 700. This is what we're doing, the water towers. And if we get it, we're using it on the water improvement project and it's benefiting us, no other communities involved. So right there, that's just disclosing where the funds will go.
Dan, what are your fees? Get the grant or don't get the grant, what are your fees associated with this?
Okay, just let me get this and I'll address that. Now, this one is our disclosure report on the downtown project. We did one initial, and then we have to do one at the end, and we're getting ready to do our federal audit next Wednesday on that project. We received $1,100,000 in federal funds from the Stellar funding, and then this is how it broke down as far as how that was expended for the architectural grant administration and whatnot, because that project did not have any local match affiliated with it, although I do believe that the town did put in some additional money. We don't want to bring that up.
Exactly.
Okay, all right. Now, as far as this grant, it's very similar to the last grant. So what happens is that we did the income survey. We had agreed by contract that that would be $4,000. I completed that. That's been paid. We then, in turn, when I submit the grant application, I will be billing the town $2,500 for that application submission. That gets paid regardless of whether or not you get the grant. We also had to do an environmental assessment on this project. That fee, I believe, is, I think each one's a little different depending upon the complexity of it and what have you. I want to make sure because I've got it in our budget. That fee is $5,000, but I typically don't bill that until after the grant is awarded because we may have to tweak something out. And then if the grant is awarded, then you will be signing a contract with me to do administration. Administration is $50,000 for the admin and $5,000 for labor standards. So overall, you're looking at about $60,000. But that's over a 2.5, 3-year period. And unlike some other entities that if your project goes over, I don't come back and ask you for more money. Just saying. I stick with you until the end, okay? All right. So right now, the only thing that they are under contract for was the income survey done, paid for, and then the grant writing of $2,500. And then once we're awarded, we get under contract for the environmental admin and whatnot, but that's part of that local match.
If the contract's awarded, you're saying, okay, that's part
Right,
of the built-in fees.
if the grant is awarded and we proceed forward with the project, then I will bring a contract for those services, and that comes out of that $313,000 local match. It's accounted for in the total project cost, as well as the architectural
So it's not
fees.
necessarily an addition above the $313,000.
No, it's included, because quite honestly, just so that you, I have it right here, your total project cost construction-wise, the total construction cost, hardcore cost is $834,000. And then your non-construction items, engineering, I think Abamarsh is gonna be doing that. Admin, inspection services, labor standards. Labor standards is certified payroll reports. Your environmental, our advertising, permitting costs, those are the non-construction items. Those are budgeted at $179,000. So those make up the $179 for the non-construction and the $134 that of your portion of the construction make up your $313. So it's all attributed to in that project budget. Okay?
Yep.
Now, I can't control what the project bids at. It's based upon estimates, but Abamarsh feels pretty confident that they've put in enough padding there to handle this bidding climate, but it's subject to change. You don't know.
Yep.
Material supplies, shortages, and what have you, but we did try to have those numbers to what's kind of current going on, okay?
All right.
Thank
All
you.
right, well, if you don't have anything else, I'm sorry I took a little bit more time, but I think these were good questions, and we're gonna head southbound and let you get on with your meeting. Appreciate it, have a great Christmas.
It was
Thank
nice
you,
to meet you.
Jan. Thank you.
You're welcome. sign-in sheet, you got it.
Okay, now we have a public hearing for additional appropriations.
Here.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to open the public hearing for additional appropriations. Any further comment? Not all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
So to make this short and sweet, you're gonna have $160,000 that you are spending in the general fund out of your cash reserves. 100,000 of it is gonna go towards paying the rest of the downtown square. And then, and then 60,000 we have set aside, because the cemetery mowing contract was more. And so the park went a little bit over, the police is a little bit over. I mean, we are a little over in a lot of spots. Everything went up this year, it was not budgeted for, health insurance being included in that. So, if you're okay with it, you don't have to ask for public comment, but that's what it's for.
Well, I think most of the overrun was probably related to fuel cost anyway, that we didn't budget for a year ago, not knowing it was gonna raise.
Some of it was
how it did.
overtime in some areas, but some of it was just contracts, you know,
Right.
they came back higher than we anticipated, so.
Any public comment?
Move to close public hearing on additional appropriation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to close the public hearing for additional appropriation. Any further comment? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Minutes from 11/16/2022 regular session.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from 11/16/2022 regular session. Any further comment on that? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Citizens input. Jill, who
I feel
you?
like that's just me. Hi, so, I've spoken, I'm Jill Huyen, I own the break room, I assume, okay, anyway. So 3 weeks ago, a police officer came in. I've always supported you guys, I've loved the park, you guys, I know it took a long time, but I always like stepped up and supported you. I agree with the 2-hour parking for the most part, and the overnight parking completely. But my concern is with the ordinance. The policeman came in and said he was gonna start ticketing, even when I have entertainment. And I understand the ordinance. I was initially angry at the ordinance, and then I stepped back and I just breathed. And then I'm like, okay, I understand this. It makes sense for the businesses. But I feel like I wanted to speak up and just state that if we could somehow tweak it to accommodate all the businesses, including myself, when I have entertainment and it's a 3-hour entertainment, I don't want my patrons who are from Rochester or Plymouth or Argos to get ticketed for enjoying that. And I know that nothing has happened. None of the people have been ticketed. Everybody's been super great. It threw me off with the police officer coming in. I agree because he was just informing me. But I just wanted to somehow approach you guys and say, is there a way to word it, and I don't have the solution, but is there a way to word it that after X amount of, like maybe 4 or 5, when other businesses who were concerned about that are done till the, whatever time limit you put, maybe the 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. That park could not be 2-hour parking. I do not stay open until 3. FYI, my whole goal is to be more of a restaurant than a bar. So, but I don't know the solution, but I don't want my patrons to be punished for staying and coming. I want it to continue to grow. I'm trying to continue to help support Argos, and I just don't want to be punished for that. So, any words of wisdom for me to like calm down about it and figure that out?
We have the president of the police commission here, and I think he can kind of expound.
Yeah, and I totally understand what you're saying, and I remember when that ordinance was written, it was kind of written for specific reasons, the way that it is written, but with that being said, things have changed in the downtown since then. And, you know, like you say, I visited your establishment, and I enjoyed myself, I enjoyed my supper there. And I think that we need to reopen that ordinance and look at that timing possibly. I'm envisioning possibly a 2-hour limit from 8 to 5 p.m., 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., and then from 5 p.m. to, say, midnight or 1 a.m. Make that, I guess unlimited parking, and then from like 2 to 6 or whatever, then no parking. The whole goal is we want the town employees to be able to, in the wintertime, go down and clean the streets out, and, so cars don't have to park in piled snow, and
I agree.
if they need to sweep the streets in the summer, and we've got to have a time period in there where it's clear.
Oh,
no cars.
absolutely, absolutely.
Why don't we just accept Friday, Saturday, Sunday night,
Well, that might work too.
instead of messing around with the hours
The only problem is I'm doing the wine and canvases that.
on Monday?
On Monday, and then I'm looking into doing some other things. And this is just me speaking. I don't know what the other businesses are doing with other entertainment and different things like that. So
Well, as I was trying to think in my mind,
Yeah.
Joe, was, you're, I
I
was
know
kind of
it's
comparing your
gonna
business to
create more
maybe
work.
possibly what the Bears did would be, like businesses in a way. And I'm not sure about the
And my
dry run,
goal
what kind of hours
is
they
to create
run.
more work for you.
How late do you normally open then? I mean, when you have entertainment on Friday or Saturday night?
Fridays and Saturdays, give or take, midnight 1 is, on my certificate said 1 o'clock.
Okay.
So I can stay up until 1 o'clock. I technically can stay up until 3 a.m. That has nipped that in the butt since we bought it.
Our biggest problem has been overnight parking.
Okay.
And vehicles, some of them just never moved up there.
So, yeah, and it's not so much your patrons, it's these
The
people.
tenants.
It's the tenants.
Tenants and the workers, and I
This-
agree, and I've told my tenants and my workers that we are not parking there. I told tenants on Sundays it was okay, just during the day, not overnight, but
Right.
during the day, just because no one's open. But, is there some way to have the building owners, the tenants just aren't allowed to park there, the workers aren't? I mean, I don't know what kind of, I'm not, that's opening a can of worms, I'm sorry.
This all
But anyway.
started back because people were parking and there was nobody to park at the library. This was the big thing,
And
Yeah.
and across the street. Obviously, we have 16 parking spots right now that do not have 2-hour parking.
Correct.
no, they do,
The new side doesn't,
yes.
They don't have the sign.
there's no
There's
signs
no
there.
sign.
There's the signs are not
Oh, I
up.
thought they were up.
No. Now, I don't know what that would hurt if we didn't put those up over there. It's not like it's,
In front of anybody.
yeah, I mean, yeah. So, you guys hear what I'm saying?
I still think we need to have some kind of
You don't have a sign up
overnight
there that
parking.
you-
Overnight,
Or-
There's no overnight
Yeah.
parking sign.
I think that, like on that side of the street, since it's a park, it should be no overnight parking, but there shouldn't be a limit. The
I'm
2-hour
thinking
limit shouldn't be over there.
Monday through Friday, during business hours, 8 to 5, 2-hour parking, no overnight parking. Keeps it
That's all.
simple.
Mhm.
Yeah,
You still have to have a
Yeah.
time period though where there's no parking, because if you just say no overnight parking,
Yeah, you
Yeah,
have to
she
go
did.
like 2 a.m. to,
I
or
would
3
make it
a.m.
3 to 5 like you
She
did.
just said 8 AM to 5 PM, didn't
Yeah.
No, that's.
8 a.m. to 5 p.m., 2-hour parking, and then she said,
Because if you remember,
No
we
overnight
did this
parking.
the first
Sure, that's
time,
fine.
no overnight parking is too generic, because what's
too
overnight?
generic, I get it, yeah.
but if you go from 3 to 5,
No,
so no parking from 3 to 5, that's pretty much,
Did you need till 6?
It hasn't been a problem, I just knew that
Do
it
you
might
need till
be.
6?
right, right.
it just depends. Six
I
would be
mean, I think it should
good, but
probably be absolutely no parking from 3 to 6.
but we did
Be
6, hang on,
careful.
we did 6, remember, then the log house
That's
was
what I
Oh,
was
converted.
that's
about-
right.
That's what I was about to say, I'm
The
trying to.
farmers come
I
in
got,
early for
I got
breakfast.
jumped
Yeah.
2 weeks
Yeah,
ago.
that's
We'll
right.
back up to 5,
Let's do 5.
They go into that restaurant at 4:30.
yeah.
Yeah.
I got a phone call that day because one of them got told they couldn't park there till 5, so.
No parking from 1 AM to
No, from 3.
3 AM.
What?
The Bear Den's
Because the
open
den-
until 3.
that's the thing, I'm trying to make it so that everyone's accommodated. That's all I was-
Usually if I call guys in the plow, we're coming in at 3, 4, 5, and that's where we start, so that should
In
take
the
care
summertime,
of
you
it.
could just rotate, you'd have a guy come in early and just take off early in the day, if you wanted, I mean, however you run your
It just
guy.
depends when it snows.
So
We
what-
try to clean it up just before it starts, cause then we usually can't get in there
Why
again.
don't you revisit the ordinance and have a workshop?
Yeah, let's,
do that.
and in the
It may
meantime,
not happen till after January 1st because the
that's
holidays
fine.
are
I
coming, but.
in the meantime, I will contact the police chief and I will personally ask him to visit with his officers and we won't write anybody a ticket there.
No one
at your
has,
establishment until we
so
look at
I
it,
just-
so.
Well.
I wanted to be
Sure.
proactive.
Don't promise that.
Yeah.
Don't promise that, are you gonna?
Yeah.
Okay.
Really quick, sorry, it was longer than I thought it was gonna.
You're fine.
So, is there any way that you guys could give us like the events calendar for the, like how far in advance do the events for Argus happen? Like the planning of it?
We're still working on next year's calendar,
Okay,
but as
so but
soon as
you'll
we
have
get
it?
Yep,
Can I get a copy so
Yeah.
that I don't like close down for the Santa thing? And
yeah,
then not support you guys? So,
yep.
I appreciate
The
that.
Santa thing will always be the day after Thanksgiving that night.
That Friday night?
That
Friday.
Friday.
Okay. Okay, sorry, I appreciate
Yeah.
that.
One,
Okay.
one last thing before you leave.
Mhm.
On behalf of the fire territory, I'm gonna step out of that, of this and into that real quick. I wanna thank you for the great job you did.
Yeah.
for
Thank you.
Catering
Yeah, it
service
was
for our
good.
meal.
I appreciate you guys too, so I was honored to be asked.
Well, we really, you've done a fine job.
Something else,
Oh.
Monday nights, we have our fire department meetings. They stay open so we can all go up and eat our late supper on Mondays.
Wow.
So, yeah, that's why I was like, I want to support you, I just want you to hear what I was thinking about the parking.
No,
I don't wanna complain, I didn't mean to, but.
we appreciate you coming in, we really do, because things change all the time, and sometimes we're not all aware, and things have changed quite rapidly in the downtown area.
Yeah, it's been great support, so,
We just have to find something that works for everybody
yeah,
in the right way.
thank you. Thank you for listening, and I'll stop talking so you guys can finish.
Thanks, Jill.
Thank you.
See ya. See ya.
Okay, excuse me, old business, attorney report.
Alright, guys, I'm sorry, but yeah, I have a fair amount to go through, and I'll do my best to keep it quick. The first thing I'm gonna talk to you about is the school resource officer. I finally have a draft of an agreement together. I sent it to Corey today, I sent it to Lisa today. I don't have any expectation that they've even seen it, but I'm just letting you know that it's in the works. It's in a place where I like it. School's not seen it, but I think it's ready to, hopefully we can get that put to where we can present that to them. And I know this guy's been there for 4 months. Is that right, Mark?
No,
No.
it's only been there about a
No.
month.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it's only been about a month.
So, all the same, I know that we're kind of behind the 8 ball here, but, we're getting it. So just to let you know, we got that out, and I'm sure that they'll have some comments. Hopefully by the next meeting, we'll be able to say, school, what do you think of this? Hopefully they're okay with it and get it put to bed, okay? The other thing, there is, and I'll let Jamie speak up if I say something incorrectly, but there was an agreement between the town and IMPA. It's called ISC. It's actually the IMPA Service Corp, but same thing as IMPA. But it's about this electronic metering or advanced metering, I think is what they kind of call that. There was an agreement to enter into where we would pay a certain amount of money for 7 years, then we would have that service. It was renewable on 3-year terms. I looked through the agreement, had a couple of issues with it, actually just one real big issue, but talked to IMPA and they fixed that. And so we now have a service agreement that I think is in acceptable form. Jamie's reviewed this thing. I think Jamie maybe even thought this was already approved, maybe even signed. Talking with IMPA, they don't think it has been. It's maybe, I know I've heard of it in prior meetings, but I don't think we've ever had a formal council say, yep, we're good with this, we're ready to sign this. And I understand, guys, that you may say, I've never seen the agreement, and I appreciate that if you want to look at it, that's okay. And then I can circulate that to you, but I think we've got that in, I'll call it final form, ready to go with info.
See, I thought we did the okay on that.
We did.
Yeah. You kind of,
Couple
and I think that's
meetings
where it was, you kind of did the general okay, but. it
With the
wasn't seen in the
stipulation.
form.
I think
You would have-
the stipulation that you had to final word on.
You were
Right.
weren't here.
Yeah.
You were off that night.
And that could be too.
Yeah, you weren't here that night, and I said if it passed, you, yeah, I think the minutes were reflected, I said that one Derek's
Yeah.
approval.
Well, I reviewed it and had a tweak and then talked to IMPA and talked to Jamie, and I think we're good with it now.
If you're good with it, we're good with it. Okay.
Yep,
So I would just ask for a motion then, if you're ready to sign that.
I'll make a motion to pass the IMPA agreement,
Pass and sign.
pass and sign.
I'll second that. We have a motion to pass and sign the info service agreement. Any further comment? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
It's my one and only copy, so I'll move that back once you're
And I
done.
just signed this back page then, right?
Yep, it's got your name, well, not your name, but it's got basically kind of our
My,
President, Argos Town Council. Randy Sneed, President, Argos Town Council.
well, you've got title, you've got by, name, and title.
Well, title is President, Argos Town Council.
Yeah.
And then print your name, and then sign above.
How soon do you start getting that equipment in, Jamie?
It's,
Yes.
probably gonna be a couple months.
Give that to you.
Before we get started, it's gonna take a while, it's gonna be trickling in, I think, so. Yeah, right now, we're working with BSNA to write the software for it, so it's all, so we're moving forward with that. So hopefully everything, when the meters start coming in, we're ready to go.
When you do a residence, I assume you're gonna do the water and the electric at the same time?
No, we'll just do the electric. We're getting some of the water meters in, but
Okay.
you may have a lot of the water meters are already done. We've got half of them already done, so. And a lot of them, the meters are okay, we just gotta, change the earths out. So everyone's just gonna be different.
We gotta crawl clear to crawl space underneath.
Each of us sign this?
Whenever you're ready, I'll tell you what we got here. Are we good? They actually go to you, Randy, believe it or not.
Yep.
Guys, the next thing that I've kind of been passing around while you guys have been chatting, is this, it's the nepotism certificate. And you basically need to fill that out, you print your name, you sign it, print your name again, date it. That goes to Randy. This is one of these annual requirements. We're kind of here at this end of the year kind of thing where we've got to do this every year. And so that's basically something that needs to be signed, filled out by every council member, Lisa as well. And then it says that they're supposed to be presented to the executive of the town council. Now, Randy, I get it, you may give that to Lisa, let her hang on to it, that's okay. But again, it's just some of these end of the year things that we've got to get taken care of.
Do I need to do it since it's for next year, or is this?
You need to do it.
Yeah.
I
You've
just
got
want,
20-some days left.
I just want you to do it, and that way there's never an issue or question. Unless, of course, you violate it.
He's not listening.
No, I'm ignoring you, today's the 7th.
You got this, yeah, this is that, resolution that Shannon did sign.
Okay.
This is the Shannon resolution, I guess.
So yeah, I'll need to sign it.
The next thing I have, it only pertains to some of you, are these conflict of interest disclosure statements. And these are things that, for a couple of folks, we have to vote on these at the next meeting, okay? And this will pertain to Mark and his dad, John. I'm gonna give those two to you. Let's get lost in the shuffle.
That's wrong.
Because they are not elected officials, they're appointed, those have to be approved by the council, and we have to do that at the next meeting. The other three that I have, we've traditionally done one for Lisa, we've done one for Sean, we've done one for George, and yes, George, I really appreciate you signing this again. And then these get basically filed with the clerk of the court, sent down to the State Board of Accounts. Gary, I'm not overly familiar with you or what you may or may not do one way or the other, but in talking with Lisa, I didn't feel immediately that there was any need for you to do this, but for example, if you had a business that ever did business with the town, then that would be a reason to sign one of these, but short of that, you're okay, and Erica, I don't think we've ever had her sign one.
Just probably be safe and sorry, but yeah, because I plan on getting my business up on off the ground this next year.
And that's fine, but that'll be next year.
Yeah, well,
So-
2023.
Yeah, and so at that point in time, if that happens, then let me know, and I'm happy to prepare one and kind of fill in the particulars, but for the council members and for Lisa, these are just something that you guys need to sign, and then we're good to go with you three. John and Mark need to have those signed and back to us before the next meeting so that we can vote on those and approve those.
I think I signed that page, that should be it.
That's all there is, is that page for you.
We'll have to use the back page, right? Put on this middle one.
I didn't see it. We only had to sign the back, right?
Only the back page,
Yeah.
Yeah,
John.
that's what I thought.
This
Yep,
comes back
because
to
it
you.
doesn't need to be approved by the council for you
Yeah.
as an elected official.
You have it.
We didn't do one for
Oh,
you.
right,
right?
that's right.
Okay.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, I forgot that he didn't work there anymore.
The last thing I have is Tony Wagner, he's attorney for Town of Bremen, reached out to me, it's been 2 or 3 weeks ago, and talked about some kind of vehicle that was gonna be sold by Bremen, purchased by the town, or titled in the name of the town. It's really for the fire territory. I think it's a command vehicle is what they're calling this. And to do that, that's fine, but understand the town will hold title to that vehicle, in essence, will own it. And in order to do that, we just need to have, it's called similar resolutions that adopt the sale of that vehicle. And it's my understanding it's been already sold for $8,500. So I have a resolution to that effect. And again, guys, I get it, this is something that I've not presented to you until the night.
I didn't even have that.
Well, and okay, and if that's the case, then I think I only got it to Lisa maybe a day or so ago. But it's basically authorizing the town to purchase that vehicle for the sum of $8,500, and it will be used by the fire territory, but it'll be owned by the town.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2022-21 for the town.
No, 20.
No, it's 21.
It's 21.
Exactly.
You're looking at the wrong one.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's 20.
oh, okay.
20, it's 21, I'm sorry. On the agenda, it does say 20, but it is 21.
For the
If you
purchase.
look down
The
further.
resolution in the packet says
How's
21.
that, how's that work
Yeah.
exactly? With the fire territory using it, the town owns it,
Is anybody gonna
because
second
it's
that?
kind of a separate thing.
We're the provider
provider unit.
territory.
Yeah,
Say
and in fact, Gary,
Second.
let's cover this first.
We have a motion and a second to pass resolution 2022-21. Town of Argos, with the emergency vehicle being bought from the town of Bremen.
Okay, now I think we can have further discussion, but basically, the town actually owns a fair amount, if not maybe all of that equipment that's been provided to the fire territory. In the event that there's ever a dissolution of the territory, that's still owned by the town. This will be another asset that's owned by the town, but will be used by the fire territory,
Right.
and that's how that functions.
Right, I'm still trying to figure out how the relationship works as far as between the fire territory and the town. The equipment, I mean, we're responsible for all the upkeep and all that, fire territory is not.
Right.
So,
No.
I'm just, that's what I mean, I don't have all the
You
information.
have 2 townships, Green, Walnut, and the town. So now we have 3 of us that is now combined as a territory. Somebody had to be the provider, the money keeper, which is the town of Argos. So the budget is for the territory, town of Argos owns the equipment. And it's a yearly, is it a yearly thing?
For,
The territory.
No.
No,
When can we dissolve it?
Oh, if one.
If any one entity wants to
Anyone
get out of it.
entity.
Yeah,
Any one
It's just a
entity.
written.
otherwise it's perpetual.
Yeah, so we would end up being, who would own it? So that's why it has to be kept that way.
And I do believe the resolution that started all this says that each entity owns a portion of the equipment. Okay, so like if we were to dissolve, we would either have to buy out the other people, or we would have to just move forward. But it's,
I really think it basically says whatever you put into the pot, you get back out of the pot, so
Right.
long as it's still there. Now, if you require different things
Right.
over the course of time, then that's an issue that would be divided.
oh, okay.
I second it.
That sounds correct what you just said there, if I remember right.
Okay.
okay, we have a motion and a second to pass resolution 2022-21, purchase of emergency vehicle. Any further comment? Not all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Oh. I'm sorry.
No, I'm done, I'm sorry.
Motion to accept the attorney report.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to accept attorney report. Any further comment? Not all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Other old business,
Yes,
go ahead.
it has to do with this fire Suburban. The old truck, it's still gonna stay in the territory so we can use it to haul stuff.
Right, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not worth
Oh, I know, it's not worth anything.
that, but Mark.
It runs good, but the body's about half, it'll be good for like bringing stuff back.
Well, that's what he
decons and
explained to
stuff.
me. You guys got the
Bring back
hoses that are all
hoses and
wet
stuff,
and
yeah.
everything, and no use throwing them in that nice vehicle when you can throw them in there in the old truck and run them back. So, yeah, it's gonna stay in the fire territory. We decided, the fire territory decided that, so,
Just wanna make sure that
yeah. Oh, yeah.
everybody understood what was going on. They were like, he's got two
If they don't wanna
vehicles.
sell it.
Huh? Yeah, afraid you wanna sell it?
Well, they've got insurance on the Suburban now,
Yeah,
and so I think Mark's running it tonight.
radio's in, it was done today.
Yeah, so it's.
It's ready to rock, yeah.
Yep. All right. Phew. New business, holy cow.
Here we go.
2214, salary ordinance.
Motion to approve.
Do you want it on one or all?
No, wait.
Let's do it.
It's December, we just wanna go home.
It's an ordinance, so you have
Do
to,
you want to all?
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, do it all.
are you suspending the rules there?
Motion to suspend the rules.
Second?
We have a motion and a second to suspend the rules. Any further comment? Not all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I'll make a motion to pass ordinance 2022-14, the salary ordinance for 2023, on
Second.
all three readings.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve resolution 2023-01, the salary ordinance, on all, suspending the rules and passing it on all three readings. Any further comment? If not all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next. 2022-18 additional appropriation.
So I gave you the resolution for the additional appropriations that we had the public hearing for.
You said we did?
Make a motion to approve resolution 2022-18, additional appropriations for 2022.
We have a motion, can we get a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to pass resolution or ordinance 2022-18, additional appropriations. Any further comment? Not all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution 2022-19, transfer of funds.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2022-19, appropriation of transfer of funds.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to pass resolution 2022-19, appropriation for transfer of funds. Any further comment? Not all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution 2022-20, AIM medical agreement.
I had Derek look this over. Do you have any comments, Derek?
I did look it over, and it is basically, it's a 3-year commitment that the town's getting involved here. That's kind of the big thing that when I read through this. So if we're in this, we're in it for 3 years, but I also understand, and I think it is pretty advantageous for rates and good for the employees of the town. But again, we're in it for 3 years, and it speaks for itself. I think the rates were also disclosed. There was they call it a final decisions document that spelled out those rates, but I know that it was more than competitive, and I think that's what the town has agreed and decided to do. This is the resolution that approves and adopts that agreement, and that's what you need to do to get that in place.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2022-20, AIM medical agreement.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to pass resolution 2022-20, AIM medical agreement. Any further comment? Not all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Let's go.
Why is the 2022-22 CCMG then, it has another one on with
And
it?
it says 2022-2 after it.
Oh, there it is.
Community crossings, isn't
It's
it?
community crossing.
No,
Oh, yeah.
there is a resolution.
I just
Did
found
not
it here.
put in there?
I don't know.
Can I see what that looks like? I'm sorry.
Is there?
Well, that's a
Not
letter.
resolution.
I don't know which
It's in
one.
Randy's file.
I don't see it.
It's a pretty.
Oh,
21, 20.
So 22 is gonna be the one that virtually gives Randy the authority to sign for the community crossings.
so,
For the matching grant fund.
yeah.
Right.
So every year, we have been lucky enough to just get the NDOT Community Crossing grant for $948,963.75. So we got almost $1 million again, thanks to Jamie and Abin Marsh and all of them. So I have a resolution, and it's been passed every year that we've gotten these grants. Mark typed it up earlier today, and I just needed to go print it out. But it basically gives Randy the authority to sign the actual contract, and they need that back as soon as possible. So it's the same kind of that you just did for Shannon, where you're giving the authority to Randy to sign the contract. It's for the grant. It has no other special wording in it. We've done it 2 or 3 times now. And all you're doing is giving Randy that authority, so.
We talked about this in depth when we had our meeting with Jamie that night when we met with department heads, so I remember that was one of the topics that night.
And we only got this letter like 2 days ago, and I was just trying to get it pushed through, and apparently one day ago,
Yeah,
sorry.
yesterday.
So, I was just trying to get it so that you guys would sign the resolution, so Randy can sign the contract, so we can get it moving. So if that's okay, I'd still like it passed. If you wanna read it, I understand that, but
That's the same one we've been using for years, isn't it, when even George was president? I mean,
Yeah.
The same process we've used
So it
for.
basically states that you are letting the Argos Town Council President be the signing agent. Oh, there you go, sorry.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2022-22, community crossings grant for 2023.
I'll second that.
So we have a motion and a second to pass,
Give you the authority to sign the paperwork.
Yeah, to give you the authority to sign the contract.
Be on
for-
proxy.
Make you the
this
king.
is the Parks Department. Oh, end-out agreement, okay. I see.
Is that still, does this say Parks Department on
Yes.
top? Sign the back page and
Yeah,
I fixed that earlier, I thought.
it's just that one sentence that says Parks Department.
Okay,
I'm trying to really throw.
so we have a motion and a second to pass resolution 2022-22. Any further comment? Not all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, so that took care of that.
Then,
The next thing is job description update.
so you guys asked Lori to put together some job descriptions. She wanted to make sure that you guys knew that she was really working on them. She sat down with Jamie, went through them. She sat down with myself, went through some. I'm sure that they're gonna need tweaked over the time period, based on the needs of the town. So,
We opened the public hearing for the water grant.
yeah.
Hopefully.
That's for the
Okay,
vehicle.
geez, never mind. We're just putting too many things through here.
Everything got piled on the last meeting, sorry.
all
Well,
right,
not
go ahead.
the last meeting, but, yeah.
Can't wait till the last meeting.
So, if you agree with the job descriptions, I put them all in your packet. If you read through them and you agree with them, I would just like to have a motion to accept them on the updated copies of 12/2 of 22, and on the back of every one of them, it does say updated 12/2 of 22. So, we don't need a resolution or anything like that, these are just for to approve the job descriptions that were written, that you asked Lori to do, so.
I'll make a motion to approve the job descriptions updated on 12/2/22.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve job descriptions updated on 12/2/22. Any further comment? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I'd like to have you thank Lori for that. I mean, I read through every one of them. It was in depth and I felt pretty comprehensive, so.
Good.
All right. Any other new business?
I have
Yes.
one thing that I would like to get passed,
Holy cow.
just one.
You have it.
So the columbarium that we're doing at the cemetery, George got a quote for $10,283 for the concrete, for Langfeld. It will come out of our perpetual fund. We're not always going to be, or it can come out of foundations, depending on,
That'll cover
it'll cover two.
that foundation will be for two columns, two.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
so that was what, we've got the one lot and ready, so foundation, and we wanted the next one ready, so that's both that's for this one that we're purchased, for another one with walkway around it, so that's expansion, because they're gonna be side by side, why it made sense to do it at the same time. So,
Now, these are not the foundations for the new section for the roads, that will come in the
Right.
spring. This is just for the columbarium, which,
and the foundations
and the foundations.
for the new pillars up front,
The ones that got knocked over in the
Oh.
accident.
yes,
It's for that too?
yes.
Wow,
And then,
okay.
yeah, that's for the foundation, so that Marks can go ahead and build the pillars. So that's for the pillar foundation and the columbarium foundation both.
And it will be $10,283, like I said. If I can get a motion, then we can get this passed, and he said next week?
Yes.
And the columbarium should be ready in January. So I'm not saying we're gonna set it in January, but it will be ready in January.
We have the funds set aside in the cemetery budget for that, don't we?
We
Perpetual
have,
care.
we have a foundation fund and we also have a perpetual care fund. Neither one are great big piles of money, but they're enough to cover this. And then hopefully to cover the or the next 4 rows.
Continuous footers.
Yeah. And just to let you guys know, we're gonna make those rows a little bit shorter. There is a big tree right there, in the 3rd section. And, it takes up quite a bit of
Yeah.
that corner. So we found a way to put those columbariums along that roadway, kinda even with the tree. So that section is going to have about
Shorter.
20 graves that are not going to be sellable, but the columbariums are 48.
Yeah.
So
it-
a piece, and we're gonna have 2 or 3 of them in
And
there.
then the flagpole
Yeah,
will be incorporated in that continuous footer.
Right,
yeah.
okay.
So just to let you know, that's what we're going for.
I'll make a motion to approve the expenditure of $10,280 for the footers, for the columbarium and the pillars to be replaced out there, the cemetery.
Second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve the 10,000, how much?
$280.
$280 for the foundations for the columbariums and the rest of the rows. Any further comment? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I got
Thank
2
you.
things now.
Oh.
I do, not on the cemetery, but on new business. Did we ever vote on Christmas lights?
Haven't judged them yet.
We haven't judged them.
I'm saying that we did approve that back in what, October
Oh.
or something?
Yeah.
So, no, you did not, so.
Correct.
I think.
The Christmas light contest, we have it every year. I kinda jumped the gun and went ahead and advertised it.
Yeah.
Could I get a motion to approve the awards, which are the same, businesses and residential? It's $200 for first place, $100 for second, and $50 for third. So,
A lot of these we've discussed is just an annual thing. The only reason we got to change it if we don't want it, but I don't think we ever did make that motion.
that's true.
I know we did for not-for-profits, I think, uptown at B&R building all the time, didn't we? I know some of the stuff's just repetitive, so you have to bring it up every year, but I'll make that motion and we can proceed with the Christmas lighting contest.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to proceed with the Christmas lighting contest. Any further comment?
Yeah, I'd like to amend it and just make it perpetual until changes are needed, then it has to be revoted on.
Okay.
So-
We'll call it the annual then.
We have a motion to make the Christmas tree lighting contest an annual event till it needs to be changed to whatever, and we'll vote it on then. Any further comment? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Any other old business or new business?
Yes. 2 things. It covers me. Planning Commission. I'm willing to stay on Planning Commission, but I won't be as an elected official. Is there a spot for citizen that I can stay on?
We will look into that, because we need to look at, Adam has expressed interest in being on the park board, so those are 2 things that we need to look into. Adam, I figured we would do that next,
Okay, I just want to bring it up to you.
yeah.
And number 2, Communications Board with the county. I kind of represent elected officials. Nobody else wanted to do it for Green, Walnut, in the town of Argos. I kind of got railroaded into that. But it's considered an elected official or representative of. So you might have to have some kind of a resolution to, if that's what you want, I would stay on and do the Communications Board.
Or just appointment?
Yeah, yeah.
Is that encompass not just fire, but also police and EMS?
Yes,
So, you're willing to do it?
yes.
Now, you can bring other council members with you if you so choose.
I can bring anybody, it's an open meeting,
So,
yeah, it's open to the public.
it's not-
So when does that appointment typically
is.
happen, George?
Excuse me?
When does that appointment typically happen?
It's just, it was there and it's never been changed, it's just that nobody ever wanted it, so I've done it since.
Well, why don't you knock it out tonight before he changes his mind?
I'll make a motion to appoint George Knoll to the Communications Board for the county on behalf of the elected officials in Green and Walnut Township.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to appoint George Knoll to the Communications Commission as a representative of the elected officials of Green and Walnut Township. Any further comment?
And town.
And town board. Any further comment? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? You got it, George.
Okay.
Thanks, George.
Set up a room for that. I just can't walk away from everything.
Okay. Claims.
So you have the claims in front of you, and the total claim docket from 11/15 to 12/05 is $1,825,040.27. Now, $1 million of it is an investment. So-
Right, I saw those
That was that
investments.
transfer.
I see it.
I do have
I
a
seen
question.
it, I'm just making.
Baker Tilly. So there was 2 checks for $568.75, and there was a total of $47,000. It doesn't quite make sense.
No, they charged us 500 and some odd dollars to do the TIF neutralization.
Right, yeah.
But those are the TIF figures that you're looking at.
Oh, okay.
Those are part of the bill.
Well, I looked at that today and it didn't make sense, so.
Can I
Yeah, the 568.75 times 2 don't make 47,536.
No, I don't, not- I went to a little school, but it wasn't that small.
Where you at, what page?
Yeah, what page?
6.
Yeah, page 6.
Yeah.
No, that is the total by check type. If you look, it says total by check type ACH transactions.
Yeah,
So those are all of the above transactions totaled.
So you
So it's an ACH, those are the total of all of the ACHs that were put out. The first 5 pages, plus that.
first 5 pages are
Oh,
all
okay.
Yeah.
ACHs, so
Yeah,
yeah, it's a
yeah,
running
okay,
total
I
all the
see
way
it now.
down to that.
yeah,
Yeah,
all right.
I get it now. The new things throw me too, George.
Yeah, and she threw overhead mat in there.
Randy.
it's the same
I'm
format you've
tired.
always had.
All right.
So your reports are done by ACH, EFT, and then checks. So, and then it totals it, the total number of ACH transactions, the total number of EFT transactions, and then the total number of checks.
Government.
And then a whole total at the bottom.
Okay.
What am I doing? In and outs.
Well, I knew what it looked like, but I
Yeah,
thought,
you just gotta scroll.
that does not make a bit of sense.
I'll make a motion to approve claims from 11/15/2022 to 12/05/2022 in the amount of $1,825,040.27.
What's coming out of Eric's checkbook?
You give a second.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve claims from 11/15/2022 to 12/05/2022 for the amount of $1,825,040.27. Any further comments? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye. Motion to adjourn.
Wait a second.
Second.
Hey, one thing I want you guys, you got back to perpetual care. There's only a percentage of the money can go into that. It's that's state regulated, just so you know. And so
Yeah.
that's that funded, you're only allowed to put so much in.
So anyhow, we have a motion and a second to adjourn. Any further comment? Not hope. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.